All right, folks, I am Tom Downey. Alongside me is Mitchell Renz here live on Chat Sports. Let's take a look now at the Miami Dolphins head coach candidates. Adam Gase, he's been fired today. 3 brutal losses to end the season. And one note here, something that just changed as of just now. Mike Tannenbaum, the former executive VP of football operations, is going to be reassigned within the Dolphins front office. And Chris Grier will now run it, who was already involved in the organization. It's the definition of insanity. The Dolphins keep doing this where they change one part of their football organization but don't change another part that was also actively involved. If you're the Dolphins, blow it all up. You keep bringing over holdovers, you don't get the risk that you actually need in your front office and your coaching staff.
I think
good.
I think you could make the legitimate argument right now the Miami Dolphins are starting to turn into what the Cleveland Browns have been for so long.
Look, Chris Grier has been in with the Miami Dolphins since 2000 in various roles. It didn't work this year. I would have blown it up.
I mean, when was the last time the Dolphins actually had a winning record? Probably the only year the Patriots didn't win the division when Matt Castle was calling hike for them.
So, I don't know. So Dolphins, I'll look at some of their top head coaching candidates. I don't have, to be frank, a great feel quite yet for this organization. We'll see what Chris Grier wants to do this time around. But number 10, you're going to see it linked. It's not going to happen. Jim Harbaugh. He's not going to leave Michigan. I know Stephen Ross loves him. Harbaugh's not come to Miami, at least not yet.
If Harbaugh leaves, who takes over at Michigan? Yodes?
Yeah, James Yoder takes over as head coach. No doubt there. Now, I will make note here of the other Harbaugh. If the Ravens do shop John Harbaugh as a trade, I think the Dolphins make a ton of sense. It might be the most likely outcome.
I don't hate it. I'm also not the biggest John Harbaugh believer.
I love him. I don't think that the Ravens are going to trade him, though. I think they're going to keep him.
Okay.
Let's work now through some other head coaching candidates. How about George Edwards, number 9? Remember, typically what you see is you go from an offensive mind, you change course, and go defensive.
I just don't think he has the resume to do it. I think his resume was much better last year when the Vikings were playing more solid football. And entering the season, the Vikings had one of the best defenses in the NFL, and they just played lackluster football. Now, you could maybe point the finger a little bit at the offense because they also sputtered, but when you're a defensive coordinator and you don't really call the plays, yeah.
All right, so Edwards checks in there at number 951. An interview, though, would fulfill the Rooney Rule requirement. Also would be fulfilled by interviewing Jim Caldwell, who I guess he's just going to get interviews this year.
I love your note in here. Teams apparently want him. I don't know why. And yeah, I agree. I don't really know why you would want an average at best NFL coach.
If you guys think I'm negative on air, you should see some of my notes.
Yeah,
I tone it down when I speak it.
Yeah, his notes, he drops a lot of Tom bombs. There's no doubt about that. Lots of Tom bombs. But Caldwell ultimately is just an average coach, and I don't think you want that. And Miami, I just can't believe they can't get a decent head coach down in Miami. How can you not recruit to Miami?
Because Mike Tannenbaum keeps hanging around the organization, and they don't give a full reset ever.
Unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
I mean, literally, if you're a Dolphins head coach candidate, do you think Grier's going to be there again next year, or is he going to get fired too? Like every couple years, something changes.
I get it, but when you look at teams that have the amount of history that the Dolphins have, located in Miami, then money's obviously a benefit when you play in Miami, in Florida, and you can't get a decent franchise around there. It's like the Knicks. The Knicks are, I think, are the worst sports franchise in the entire sports professional world. Dolphins, I think, are right now the worst ran NFL organization. Them and the Bengals.
That's the Bengals. Let's move now to number 7, Matt LaFleur, the Titans offensive coordinator. I thought he called a decent game last night, was hamstrung by Blaine Gabbert, but the offense wasn't good this year for Tennessee. And Matt LaFleur comes from the Sean McVay coaching tree and Kyle Shanahan too, and he fits the, ooh, this is our hot young offensive coordinator candidate. Let's go hire him and hope he's the next Sean McVay. I think it's very, very risky.
I wouldn't like it at all, and I think when you look at what the Titans at least put around their offense, right? So, I mean, Marcus Mariota, a number 2 overall pick in the 2014 NFL draft. They've added weapons around him. Sure, there's been some injuries with Delaney Walker, Jonnu Smith, and whatnot, but they've tried to do their best to put a lot of talented pieces around Marcus Mariota and that offense, and it's an offense that stinks. I'm pointing my finger a little bit at LaFleur. I'm going to point my finger at Mariota as well. So.
All right, number 6 then, Mike McCarthy. And look, the Packers can't have losing to the Cardinals. Only 3 losing seasons in 13 years as head coach, but the last 28 games, not good with Green Bay.
I think the NFL caught up with Mike McCarthy and his offense, and if he tries to run the kind of offense that he wants to run, with Marcus Mariota, it's going to be really bad. We're going to be looking at Deshaun Kaiser in 2017, the way the Green Bay Packers offense ran, I think. It would be really bad.
All right, so McCarthy checks in there at number 6. I think he'll have interest from the Dolphins, but I think he'll be able to find a better job in the end.
Okay.
That's my mindset. All right, number 5, you mentioned him for the Bengals, Eric Bieniemy, the Chiefs' offensive coordinator. But Andy Reid does call the plays. I think he'll get multiple interviews. If the Dolphins do want to go offensive-minded, I think Bieniemy could be an option.
I like Bieniemy, but also you could point the finger that, again, he doesn't call the plays. I like Andy Reid as a coach, but right now he's spoiled. He is. He's got a beautiful garage full of unbelievable fancy cars, and he gets just to hop in any one that he wants. Oh, do I want Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce? His running backs have been pretty good. And then Patrick Mahomes, that guy, he's not bad either.
And then to go from the Chiefs to the Dolphins, you have who knows at quarterback. It's not going to be Ryan Tannehill. He's going to be gone. Frank Gore's old. Kenyon Drake isn't giving the ball enough. And your top receivers are slot receiver Danny Amendola, Kenny Stills, Albert Wilson, Mike Gesicki.
I think it'll be a little bit of a reality check. If Bieniemy goes to Miami, massive reality check.
All right, today's show is brought to you by Bet. Decide over to chatsports.com/bet. Use promo code LIVE120. It gets you a 120% deposit bonus. You put down $50, they will give you $60 for free. And go DM us on Twitter @chatsports. We'll get you guys hooked up with an NFL jersey. The best deal out there, Mitch.
The best deal out there, and I literally challenge you to find a better one because you're not going to. Remember to use our promo code LIVE120 for a 120% deposit bonus. Chatsports.com/bet. Sign up and deposit. And remember, DM Chatsports on Twitter @chatsports. Get yourself one of those beautiful jerseys.
All right, number 4, sticking with that young offensive coordinator mind theme, I guess young offensive coach mind, Zach Taylor, the former son of Mike Sherman, or son-in-law of Mike Sherman, which maybe that's a positive in the end for the Dolphins. And back in 2015, he was the Dolphins' interim OC under Dan Campbell, who I don't think will be an option this time around.
Again, and this is just the hope. This is copycat league. This is hope that he could be the next Sean McVay, 35 years old. I understand the risk and I understand the reward. I understand it all, right? Because if he bangs the way that Sean McVay is produced, it's a great hire.
Yeah.
But I don't think he has the exact same mind of McVay, and it's hard to duplicate what McVay's done.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk then about some defensive options, and the Dolphins going from Adam Gase. Typically, what you see more often than not, teams reverse course. They go, okay, offense last time, no, we need defense now because the Dolphins' defense was really bad this year. Matt Eberflus, who has really emerged as a head coach candidate late in the year. The Colts defense was not supposed to be good.
They were supposed to be really bad.
They overachieved. Former Cowboys linebackers coach was involved in the passing game coordination as well with there. He is going to get interviews. I think the Dolphins do make sense for him as an option.
I think this would be a really good hire, and I would like this hire.
It's quick, but it's quick.
I mean, the Colts, they're playing for him. And when you look at the talent, when you look at that defense on paper, I don't think they should be even close to the top 15 in terms of just talent and points per game. And they're top 10 right now in points per game. They're playing very good football at the end of the season. They're in the playoffs. Matt Eberflus definitely deserves a lot of credit.
All right, so Eberflus there is the number 3 option. You've been very impressed by him so far.
He's getting his guys to play. I mean, you hear when the players are talking about their coaches, they're excited to say his name. They're excited about him, and for good reason. I mean, the Colts started out 1-5, and they made the playoffs. Only 2 other teams in NFL history have ever done that. Again, I mean, Andrew Luck deserves a lot of credit. I think comeback player of the year. But also that defense has definitely stepped up over the last 10 weeks.
All right, another defensive option, Kris Richard. You can also throw in Brian Flores in this category as well if you want. Richard interviewed for the Colts job last year, interviewed for the Bills job previously as well. He fits we fired the offensive mind. Let's go hire a defensive mind. The NFL was very high on Kris Richard. It was a surprise when the Seahawks fired him because he interviewed for head coaching jobs, and then Seattle blew up their entire coordinator staff, which was curious.
Well, you love Richard.
I do love him.
I know. So you like Richard more than Eberflus?
Yes.
Okay.
I do.
Okay.
He also has more DC experience too.
Fair.
Because he was the Seahawks DC.
But I think the Cowboys have a much more talented defense than the Colts do.
Yes, they do. The Cowboys defense has also been better this year. But
but
I mean, look, they're both great coaches. I've no doubt about that one. So Richard checks in there at number 2. I think he'd be a good hire for a team like the Dolphins or another Florida team, the Buccaneers. Similar boat right there.
Interesting.
Fire offensive mind, let's go get our defensive coach after that. And then number 1, I don't think it's very attainable, but Lincoln Riley.
No.
Stephen Ross will open up the checkbook. He'll do it. He'll pay.
Yeah, but
That's partially why he's number one.
There's a lot of history with Miami, but there's also a lot of history at Oklahoma. It's like job security, Lincoln. I understand the appeal here, and if the Dolphins were to be able to get Lincoln Riley, there's no doubt that they would take him. Mm-hmm. And I think that's why he's ranked number one, but in terms of likeliness, I don't know, and we know Lincoln, what he's been able to do with quarterbacks just the last few years. If there's one thing that the Dolphins need, it's QB.
The issue is, I don't think the Dolphins' job is all that appealing right now.
It's not. The only thing that you're going to be able to sell is, hey, we have nice weather and we have history.
And
not selling me.
Let us know who you think the Dolphins will hire. I do want to make one note here. There's been some buzz that Rex Ryan wants the Dolphins job because apparently he wants to just get all of the different AFC East jobs. I don't know which job makes less sense for Rex Ryan. The Miami Dolphins or the Miami Hurricanes job? Because he's been linked to both now.
Oh, man.
Disaster hire.
Why?
Don't you dare hire Rex Ryan.
Maybe
don't you dare.
He's just going to do both.
If he wants to come be a DC, sign me up.
He's a good defensive coordinator.
I don't want him as my
The Ryans are, I think, been able to prove that they're pretty solid defensive coordinators.
Yeah. I don't want Rex Ryan as my head coach. All right, folks. Like we're wearing, go get yourself a Mizzen and Main shirt. Comfortable.af is the site in which these shirts are indeed comfortable as F.
They're 100% checkout, unbelievably comfortable. You can wear them to the gym. You can wear them out when you go to the club. Heck, you can sleep in them, and nobody's going to be able to tell because they are impossible to get wrinkly. And like I said, I got a few for Christmas. Thanks. So, Mom, if you're watching, much appreciated. Go get yourself a Mizzen and Main shirt, comfortable.af.
All right, recapping the Dolphins' top 10 head coaching candidates here. Jim Harbaugh, George Edwards, Jim Caldwell, Matt LaFleur, Mike McCarthy, Eric Bieniemy, Zach Taylor, Matt Eberflus, Kris Richard, Lincoln Riley. Don't you dare hire Rex Ryan. Disaster idea there. As we get new information throughout the offseason, folks, we will update these. Dolphins is one I think for sure we'll end up updating.
Which one do you think is the most likely, and then which one's your favorite?
Most likely, Eberflus.
Okay.
Richard's my favorite.
Richard's your favorite?
That is very much a more of a shot in the dark right now.
But if Lincoln's on the table, they're taking Lincoln over them all.
Mm.
Okay.